Picture this: a cold warehouse gym in Amsterdam, March 9th. The air thick with anticipation and the smell of old leather. In one corner stands Saskia Vanderberg, a tower of muscle and bone at 6 foot 240 pounds of pure fighting power. She's the Dutch kickboxing champion, who's dismantled every male opponent foolish enough to step into the ring with her. 37 fights, 37 victories, 32 of them ending with her opponent carried out on a stretcher. Her reputation? Terrifying. Her record? Flawless. In the opposite corner stands a man who looks like he wandered into the wrong building. Bruce Lee, 5'7", barely 135 pounds, dripping wet. To the Dutch crowd packed into that freezing warehouse, he's just some unknown Chinese-American actor from Hong Kong. They've never seen his films, they don't know his name. All they see is a size mismatch so ridiculous it has to be a joke. The woman outweighs him by more than 100 pounds. Her thigh is literally thicker than his entire torso. When the crowd sees them together, they don't gasp, they laugh. But in the next 8 minutes, everyone in that room would witness something that would haunt their understanding of combat forever. Let me tell you about Saskia Vanderberg. She wasn't born a champion. She was forged into one. Growing up in Rotterdam as the daughter of dock workers, she walked into her first kickboxing gym at 15 years old. The men there treated her like a punchline. A girl? In their gym? They figured she'd cry and quit after the first hard sparring session. 3 years later, she was the one making them cry. By 18, Saskia was knocking out grown men twice her age. By 22, she held the Dutch heavyweight championship, not the women's division, the actual heavyweight title. She fought men who outweighed her, men who came in convinced their masculinity was armor against her strikes. They learned otherwise, usually in the first round. Her right leg kick had ended 11 professional fights outright, the damage so catastrophic her opponents literally couldn't stand. Her knees to the body had sent men to hospitals with internal bleeding. Her punches, thrown with the full rotation of her massive frame, could separate consciousness from the body in a single clean shot. When the challenge came from Hong Kong, a request for her to face some actor named Bruce Lee in a private exhibition, Saskia didn't hesitate. She'd heard whispers about this Chinese man who supposedly revolutionized martial arts, but she hadn't seen his movies or heard his philosophies. What she knew was simple mathematics. She was 240 pounds of scar tissue and violence. He was a movie star who weighed less than most welterweights. The fight would be over before it started. Bruce Lee accepted the challenge, but not for the reasons most people assumed. He wasn't trying to prove male superiority or boost his ego by beating a woman. He was in Europe teaching seminars, spreading a different understanding of combat, one that transcended traditional boundaries and conventional wisdom. When Saskia's challenge arrived through a Dutch martial arts instructor, Bruce saw something valuable, an opportunity to demonstrate that physics, leverage, timing, and anatomical knowledge could neutralize overwhelming physical advantages. This wasn't about gender. It wasn't about pride. It was about proving that intelligence could overcome raw power when applied correctly. The match was arranged in secret, a private gym in Amsterdam's warehouse district. 20 witnesses maximum. Standard boxing ring. Full contact kickboxing rules. 3 5-minute rounds. Everything legal. Punches, kicks, knees, elbows, except throws and ground fighting. This would be a pure stand-up war. The gym itself was a brutal space. March in the Netherlands meant bone-chilling cold that crept through concrete walls. Inside smelled like decades of sweat, leather, and violence. The boxing ring dominated the center, its ropes sagging from age, its canvas stained dark from years of blood. 20 people formed a circle around it, mostly Dutch kickboxers who'd trained with Saskia or lost to her. A few journalists. One photographer whose images would later be dismissed as elaborate fakes because what they captured seemed to violate the laws of physics. When Saskia entered, the crowd exploded. She was their proof that Dutch kickboxing created the most devastating fighters in Europe. She wore all black shorts and a sports top that revealed arms like a heavyweight boxer's and legs thick as tree trunks. She moved with the unmistakable confidence of someone who'd solved every physical problem in her life with controlled violence. Bruce entered without fanfare. No music, no announcement. Just a quiet walk through the crowd in simple black shorts, his bare torso looking almost fragile next to the giant woman waiting for him. The laughter started immediately. Not mean-spirited, just confused. People in the crowd shouted in Dutch, words Bruce didn't need translated. They thought this was a publicity stunt. They thought the movie star would tap out after tasting one real kick. They thought Saskia would carry him for a round to make it entertaining before putting him away. The referee brought them to ring center. Standing side by side, the size difference looked like a visual error. Saskia gazed down at Bruce. He looked up at her. Neither spoke. The referee explained the rules in English, then ordered them to touch gloves. Saskia extended her massive, scarred fist. Bruce tapped it with his own considerably smaller hand. The contrast was startling. Her knuckles enlarged from years of impact, his smaller but carrying their own history of violence. The bell rang. Saskia exploded forward with zero hesitation. No feeling-out process. No distance testing. She immediately launched a devastating right leg kick at Bruce's lead leg. The same kick that had ended 11 professional fights. The kind that damaged nerves and left opponents crippled. Her conditioned shin cut through the air like a baseball bat. Bruce's leg didn't retreat. It advanced. He checked the kick shin to shin. But instead of absorbing and resetting, he flowed with her momentum, stepping inside her guard while her kicking leg was still retracting. His fist struck her ribs with a sharp crack that made several spectators gasp audibly. Saskia's eyes widened. Not from pain, from shock. She'd been hit hard before by men bigger than her, but she'd never been hit like that. The strike had penetrated through her considerable muscle and impacted the ribs beneath. It had actually hurt. She responded with a left hook aimed at decapitation, thrown with her full body rotation. Shoulders, hips, legs, all contributing maximum force. The punch could have ended the fight instantly if it landed clean. Bruce's head moved 4 inches, just enough. The fist passed by his ear close enough that he felt the wind displacement. His counter was already in motion. A straight right traveling the center line that found the gap in her guard and struck her solar plexus before she'd fully retracted her missed hook. Air exploded from Saskia's lungs in a grunt. Her forward momentum stopped. For the first time in 37 professional fights, she took a backward step not by choice, but because her body demanded it. The crowd went dead silent. Bruce didn't press the advantage. He reset to his stance, hands loose, weight centered, watching. Saskia stared at him, her expression shifting from confidence to something more complex, respect mixed with recognition. She understood suddenly that she wasn't fighting what she thought she was fighting. She attacked again, this time with more caution. A jab to measure distance. Bruce slipped it. A right cross following. Bruce ducked under. A left kick to his body. Bruce caught it. Actually caught her 40-plus-pound leg mid-flight with both hands. Redirected it past his body and swept her supporting leg before she could recover. Saskia crashed to the canvas. All 240 pounds hit hard enough to shake the ring. The crowd erupted in disbelief. Their champion, the woman who'd never been taken down in kickboxing, was on her back staring at the lights. The count began. 1, 2, 3. Saskia was already rising. She wasn't hurt, just shocked. The referee checked her eyes. She nodded curtly, rage building in her expression. She'd been embarrassed in front of her people by someone half her size. That could not stand. The fight restarted. Saskia unleashed everything. No more caution, no more testing. She threw combinations that would have destroyed most fighters. Right low kick, left hook, right knee, left elbow, right cross. 5 strikes in 2 seconds, each capable of ending the fight. None landed clean. Bruce moved through her assault, like water flowing through rocks. The low kick was checked, the hook slipped, the knee redirected, the elbow parried, the cross ducked, and in the microseconds between her attacks, in those fractional moments where she was transitioning from one technique to the next, Bruce struck, body shot, liver shot, solar plexus, ribs, sternum, short punches, economical and precise, each landing with enough force to make her grunt, to make her massive frame respond, to accumulate damage in ways she'd never experienced. 90 seconds into the first round, Saskia was breathing hard, not from exhaustion, from pain. Her ribs screamed, her liver sent distress signals. Her solar plexus had been hit 4 times, each impact driving air from her lungs. She'd landed strikes too, a right hand clipping Bruce's shoulder, a left kick making partial contact with his hip, but nothing clean, nothing with full power. Everything was being slipped, redirected or absorbed in ways that minimized damage. She changed tactics. If precision wasn't working, she'd use her overwhelming size advantage. She rushed forward, trying to clinch, trying to get her hands on him, trying to use her 100-pound weight advantage to smother his movement and deliver knees at close range where his speed couldn't save him. Bruce didn't retreat. He moved into her rush. At close range, his hands found her wrists and elbows, controlling her limbs before they could grab him. He delivered a knee to her thigh that made her stumble, an elbow to her shoulder that temporarily deadened her arm. He was fighting in the clinch where she was strongest, and he was winning. The bell rang. End of round 1. Round 2 began with Saskia more controlled. She'd fought enough to know emotion was a liability. She needed to be smart, use her reach, keep him at distance, make him come to her where she could time his entries with her devastating leg kicks. The strategy was sound. Against most fighters, it would have worked. Bruce started pressing forward. Not rushing, just walking, cutting off the ring with small steps that limited her space. Every time she tried to circle away, he was there, closing angles, forcing engagement. She threw low kicks. He checked them or moved through them, taking partial damage to land counters. She threw her right cross, her best punch. He slipped it and countered with a hook to her ribs that made her gasp audibly. 2 minutes into round 2, something shifted in Saskia's eyes. It was the look of someone realizing they couldn't win. She was bigger, stronger, more powerful, and none of it mattered. She launched a desperate final combination. Everything she had left: high kick, spinning back fist, flying knee, 3 spectacular techniques thrown with perfect form and bad intentions. Bruce avoided all 3, moved inside her guard, and delivered a right cross that landed clean on her jaw. Saskia's legs gave out. She hit the canvas hard, her massive frame collapsing like a building losing its foundation. The crowd was screaming. Shock, disbelief, horror. Their champion was down, really down. The count began. 1, 2, 3, 4. Saskia's eyes were open but unfocused. Her hands tried pushing herself up, but her body wasn't responding. The punch had scrambled her circuits. 5, 6, 7. She made it to one knee, swaying. 8, 9. She stood, barely. The referee looked in her eyes, waved his hand, asked questions in Dutch. Saskia nodded. Technically she could continue, but everyone knew it was over. She threw one more combination. Slow, telegraphed, desperate. Bruce slipped it, moved to her side, delivered a kick to her thigh that buckled her leg. She went down again. This time she stayed down, waving her hand. She was done, not knocked out, but finished. Unable to continue, unwilling to take more damage for pride. The referee called it. Technical knockout. 2:47 into round 2. The gymnasium erupted in chaos. People shouting, arguing, some claiming the fight was fixed, others demanding to know how what they just witnessed was physically possible. Saskia sat against the ropes, ice on her ribs, her face showing something beyond defeat understanding. Everything she thought she knew about size, power, and fighting had been incomplete. Bruce walked to her corner and extended his hand. Saskia looked at it for a long moment, then took it. He pulled her to her feet. They stood in the center of the ring together, and Saskia raised Bruce's hand. The gesture of a champion acknowledging someone who'd taught her something she couldn't have learned any other way. Later, Saskia would tell journalists that the fight changed her understanding of combat completely. She trained in Jeet Kune Do principles for the next 3 years. She won another 15 fights, but she did it differently, incorporating the lessons Bruce taught her in less than 8 minutes of actual fighting. Bruce left Amsterdam the next day. The fight was barely documented. A few witnesses, one photographer whose images were dismissed as fakes. No video, no official record. Just a story that seemed too impossible to be true. A 135-pound man defeating a 240-pound kickboxing champion who'd never lost to a male opponent. The mathematics seemed to make it impossible. But everyone who was there knew the truth. They'd watched it happen. They'd seen size, strength, and power become irrelevant against someone who understood the deeper principles of combat. They'd witnessed Bruce Lee prove once again that the greatest weapon wasn't the body, it was the mind that controlled it.